Hello, I am at Ranger Creek Brewing and Distilling with Josh, one of the distillers here at Ranger Creek.
How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. We are going to get to do something that y'all are not getting to do right now, which is taste whiskey.
One of our favorite things to do.
Isn't it? You know, we're trying to dispel the myth that distillers just sit around and drink whiskey all day, but by doing this, we're probably not helping the cause.
Well, somebody's got to do it, though.
It's a hard job,
Yeah.
yes. So Josh is actually going to walk us through their core products, which is their bourbon, their rye, and their single malt. And so all of the whiskeys that y'all do are produced grain to glass here
Yes, they
at
are.
the distillery in San Antonio,
Yes.
correct? All right. Well, that is, and they're aged here too, right?
Yes.
On site. Yeah. So you get a true Texas whiskey out of that. So the bourbon itself. Talk to me about this beautiful amber-colored.
So this is our straight bourbon. This is our core flagship whiskey right here. It is 70% corn, 16% rye, 14% barley.
Okay.
We do sour mash it as well, about 15% sour mashing.
So for those that aren't familiar and they hear that term a lot, mostly associated with probably Jack Daniels, but what is sour mash?
So a lot of whiskeys on the shelf are sour mash. Most of them don't say because customers aren't familiar with the term. Basically, what that is, after the first distillation, when we're finished distilling that, the back set, the leftover liquid off the still, we pump back into the next mash. That does many different things. It helps pH. It adds a bunch of amino acids, helps with the fermentation,
Okay.
gives you a lot of great flavor coming out of the back end of the whiskey. I get a lot more fruitiness on a whiskey when I use a back set. And it gives me a little bit higher yields as well.
Okay. Well, good to know. So now you can tell your friends you know what sour mash is. So can we pour some?
Sure, let's do that.
All right. Are you pouring her?
That don't matter. You grabbed it, so
All right,
you
I'm
must be
pouring.
ready to taste right now.
Well, who doesn't like to taste
Well, of
whiskey
course.
at whatever time in the morning this is? Ooh, I was expecting to have a little bit of a stopper there, but it does not.
That'll be good. Thank you, sir.
All right. And because you said this is your straight bourbon, which means it is aged at least
2 years of age.
Yes. Okay.
Our average right now is about 2.5. The trick is making it faster than you can sell it, but sometimes that
Well,
isn't
with y'all,
necessarily
that's a
the
little
case.
tough because this flies out the door. So,
Yes.
I mean, it is. You get the traditional bourbon smells. I get the vanilla. I get the caramel. But you're right. I do get a little bit of fruity notes to it.
A bit of brown sugar, slight
Yeah,
bit of maple.
a little bit of the little sweetness
Yeah.
to it.
Mhm.
But I mean, I can get a little bit of that grain, and I think that's probably the rye coming through
Yeah.
from because you said it's what 16%.
16%. It's not a whole lot.
It's not a high rye,
But
yeah.
and the rye we use is fairly soft too. It's not extremely spicy by any means.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So this bourbon is 96 proof.
Okay.
This batch, I believe.
Wow. For 96 proof, it's not what you would expect with a 96 proof bourbon. I mean, it's got a. I mean, I hate to overuse the word smooth, but for those that are not used to drinking whiskey and bourbon straight, a lot of times because they feel that there's a burn to it. Now, if you drink whiskey on a regular basis, kind of like we do, that changes for you a little bit. But there's really not a burn to it. There's a little bit of warmingness to it, which is traditional with a bourbon. But if you're looking to try it, or if you're not sure, this one is exceptionally smooth on the palate. It's also really complex. I mean, so you're getting a lot of the flavors that we got in the nose, that fruit, that kind of getting the brown sugar, the dark fruit. I'm
Yes.
trying to blank on exactly what fruit I'm getting, but okay. Well,
I
that
would
is
say more
fantastic.
going into a from a brown sugar into like almost a plum kind of
That's-
thing going on the back
Yes.
end. So yeah.
That is, and if you don't eat a lot of plums, you're probably going to have a harder time picking that out, which is why I did. But, all right, so let's move on to the rye.
So
Yeah, here, I'll do that for you all.
yeah, just right there.
Perfect. Right.
So the rye is 100% rye. We use malted rye for that. This rye that we get is grown in Canada.
Very light in
It
color.
is very light. It is not a traditional rye.
Okay.
It's actually a rye made from whiskey mash because it's not aged in new barrels.
Okay.
But that's why it has the color.
Okay.
Because it's not aged in a new barrel. This batch currently is 15 months old, so it's a little bit younger. Came out of 10 and 15 gallon barrels on this one, and it is 94 proof.
It's got some citrus notes too.
Yeah.
And you get I get that grain smell that you get from the rye.
Yes.
I mean,
It's not extremely spicy. It's kind of citrusy, almost slightly cidery to me, almost brandy-esque.
Okay. I can see where you're going with it, and I don't drink a lot of cider or brandy, so I'm not getting a lot of that out of it. But on the nose, like I said, I get a lot of those citrus and the grain and earthy kind of tones to it, which I really like. And then what's the proof on this one?
This is 94 proof.
So again, for a higher proof alcohol, it's extremely easy to drink, approachable. I get that same kind of, because of the light, it's very light. I do get a little bit of citrus notes, but I do get the earthy tones to it, and I'm picking up probably some of the bourbon notes from being aged in there. But you're right, for a rye whiskey, it's not spicy. I don't get a lot of that black pepper that people typically associate with the rye.
It goes down very easy. Even with a few drops of water, sometimes I pick up even hints of mint on the back end, which is quite unique.
Interesting.
So,
yeah,
it opens
I can
up
see
quite a
that.
bit, so
I definitely see that. Okay, well, guys, the rye. Wow, it's got a little bit of dryness to it in the finish there too, which I just noticed. That's a really good rye. I know there's ryes making a comeback, but there's still some haters out there, if you would. So don't hate. Drink more whiskey. Okay, so now we've got the single malt. So talk to us about the single malt. I mean, when people hear the word single malt, they're obviously used to hearing Scotch.
Yes. Well, it's not made in Scotland, therefore we can't call it Scotch.
Right.
But it is made in the same fashion as Scotch.
Okay.
This is actually quite a unique recipe. Since we are a combined brewery and distillery, we used to have a beer called Mesquite Smoked Porter, actually, which we just recently brought back. It was a porter beer that we hand smoked with mesquite wood. We took a shipping container and converted it into a smoker. We just lay the grain out in there and fill it up with smoke. Well, we decided to take that beer, remove the hops, and distill it into the Rimfire Single Malt Mesquite Smoked Whiskey. It is 86 proof. This current batch was 17 months out of 10 gallon barrels.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and give this one a shot.
Yeah, so this is 100% malted barley.
Barley, yes.
Correct, okay.
And about 30% of the grain is smoked with mesquite.
Okay.
Yes.
I can get that smoke on the nose there.
That kind of.
It's faint. It's not overpowering.
Yeah, it's not like a Lefroy
Yeah,
or
so
anything
where you get that
by any
peak.
means.
Yeah.
So.
And so, which, I mean, for those that, you know, if you're a Lefroy fan or a peated Scotch, you know, fan, you're going to get a little bit, I guess it's kind of a Texas homage to that. I mean, because you're using mesquite wood to smoke the malt instead of peat. It's not as overpowering. So if you're not a fan of it, this is still worth trying because you get a little bit of smoke to it without it being overpowering and smelling like Band-Aids and you know, rubbing alcohol. but beyond the smoke, I do get some sweetness from the barley that's in there. And is this aged in y'all's bourbon barrels?
Bourbon barrels, yes, it is.
Okay, so from the 36.
And we use a wide variety of malts, all 100% malt, but we use a little bit of chocolate malt and Maris Otter and stuff like that.
Which makes sense. And my phone's ringing. We do not have technical difficulties doing this at all. But the beyond the smoke, I get a little bit of smoke on the right there on the initial taste.
Yes.
But after that fades away, I get some sweetness, but I do get a little bit of dark chocolate.
Yes.
And that would be from the chocolate malt.
Yes.
Yeah. So which I love. I mean, I think that is a Oh, that makes a great after dinner, drink.
Actually, this is one of my favorites to make an old fashioned with. That little bit of smoke.
Okay.
With the chocolate and yeah, it's.
So I was thinking a
excellent.
Manhattan.
Yes. That
Because
would make
of
a great
the
Manhattan.
because of the smoke and that chocolate, would pair well with the sweet vermouth, and almost like a
I haven't tried
smoked-
it yet, but I'll have to give that
like
a shot.
smoked chocolate covered cherry,
Ooh, yeah.
maybe.
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that because for one of our whiskey club releases, which is a special club that we do quarterly, 2 releases in house only, I took this and aged it in a Texas Tempranillo wine barrel,
Oh,
and it kind of gave it that chocolate covered cherry thing going on with it.
Okay.
It was very unique. Yes.
well,
So-
so I did that because the reason I brought that up is I'd made a Manhattan with utilizing Balcones rye, which has the dark chocolate and espresso
Yes.
flavors, and I got that, but it didn't have the smokiness to it. So I'm thinking using this would add a nice little smokiness to it that would really just kind of set that over
I'm
the
gonna
top.
go have to buy me a bottle of sweet vermouth now tonight. So.
Yeah, definitely do that. Maybe we'll make the cocktail and share it for everybody as well. But man, thank you so much for walking me through the different whiskeys you have. I hope y'all are, that are watching this are going to go buy some, try it out, share your own cocktail that you love making with it, and until next time, cheers.
Cheers.